Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big, fun, exciting day in my kitchen. And today we're gonna make a recipe that's, it warms your inside. It's like rustic, old Italian. It's hearty for the body. It's good, it's nutritious. And it definitely has those elements of old Italy. And that's gonna be a chicken stew, or in Italian they call it spezzintino. And spezzintino comes from the word in Italian, spezzantini, which means the act of like cutting up things in smaller pieces, okay? So this is fun, it's easy, it's relatively quick. All right, so let's go over ingredients. Number one, essentially our center stage here is gonna be our chicken. So I want about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. In this case, it portioned up to be 3 medium to moderately sized chicken breasts. Number two, I'm gonna start adding all those flavors to the soup. So I'm gonna go 2 cups of chicken stock, and now I'm going to start adding a lot of that flavor, right? So I've got 1/2 teaspoon of dried rosemary. Now remember, it's dried, so if you're using fresh, you're going to double to almost triple it. Dried's going to be a lot more concentrated. I've got 1/2 teaspoon of thyme. Oh, it's so good. And I'll tell you, when you have the rosemary, it goes so beautiful with chicken, and it just brings out that flavor and it adds to that flavor. We've got 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. I've got 3 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna add some tomatoes. So I have 5, medium to smaller sized tomatoes. I've got 2 bay leaves. Bay leaf is, it's just, the aroma of a bay leaf is just earthy. It's not even herby, it's just earth, very earthy. We're gonna use some garlic, so we won't use a whole bulb, but we'll use about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. We're gonna need to make that sofrito as well, so we're gonna add, I've got about 2.5 to 3 celery stalks. I've got 1 whole carrot, cleaned obviously. I've got here just a bunch of basil. Boy, I'll tell you, if there isn't, when I smell that, it's summer, it's sea, it's cheese, right? Prosecco, it's so great. I've got here 1 can of cannellini beans, and that'll be great. That'll just add that deepened flavor. It gives you that fullness, that heartiness of the soup. I've got here about a fat tablespoon of tomato paste. It's just the flavor of tomatoes on steroids. Oh, it's so fantastic. We're gonna use some Parmesan Reggiano. So if you can get some Parmesan cheese, we're gonna use that just to finish off the top. So perfect. We're gonna need some salt. So here I either use a French sea salt or a pink Himalayan. Today we're gonna use pink Himalayan. It's earthy, it's briny, it's got some great minerals, and I always say, hey, it's sexy, right? Pink Himalayan. And now I've got some fresh ground pepper. Last but not least is gonna be some olive oil. I'm gonna want something really good, earthy, grassy, a little peppery, true authentic extra virgin. Oh, I know. Geez, for any of our new viewers, we own a farm in Italy, and we make our own olive oil. It's in a little village called Vico del Gargano. It's just north of Bari. It's on the East Coast. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, geez, I would love to buy a bottle of olive oil. Is that what you're thinking? So listen, you can just hit the link above or below. You can go to my Facebook, Cooking Italian Joe, or our website, Cooking Italian Joe, and just click buy it now, and we'll actually drop ship you a bottle right to your front doorstep. I call it a trip to Italy right in a bottle. So what do you say we get going here? I want to show you a couple of really good cooking Italian with Joe tips that take something simple and delicious and just deepens that rustic Italian flavor. Guys, we got to start chopping stuff up. Nothing better than a nice sharp knife. So let's get this baby going. First thing I want to get going on is my onion, medium chop. Take the onion, cut it right in half. There's the bottom of your onion. We want to keep that intact. Just cut the top off. Give it a quick peel. Now, as some of you guys know, cut a few slices right up to the heel, but not through the heel. And if you want a smaller chop, cut more slices, right? You want a bigger chop, you're going to cut bigger slices. And then I'm just going to cut across the grain, and there you go. Next, guys, we're going to hit our celery. So I already cleaned it, washed it down. And then I'm going to do, again, some smaller slices here. Okay, our celery's done. I got a couple of beautiful leaves of celery here that I just want to add in. Next, we're going to add our garlic. So I'm going to use maybe 3 bulbs of garlic because it's kind of small. All right, so I lied. I got 4 here. One's really small. So I'm just going to take that knife. I'm going to give it a good whack and break them right down. And every once in a while you talk to people and they say they don't like garlic. And my attitude has always been, why would you hang out with anyone that doesn't like garlic? You know what I mean? I mean, my attitude is, hey, listen, I'm sure you're a good person and all, but you're not coming to my birthday party, you know what I mean? Because I put it in my birthday cake. So I'm gonna, that's a good idea for a recipe. Garlic cake. So guys, this is a hearty dish, so I'm just looking for some small pieces of garlic. You don't need to mince it. Garlic's done. Doesn't that look beautiful? I'm gonna slide that over for my sofrito. Don't worry about it if your hands smell like garlic. That's a beautiful thing. Now I've got my carrot, so I'm gonna take my carrot, cut the end off. Simple way to do a carrot here is I'm gonna cut this in half. That's beautiful. And then again, I'm gonna cut them down to about 1/4 inch or smaller, thinner. I don't like huge hunks of carrot in there. Doesn't that look absolutely gorgeous? Now I'm gonna need 2 pans. So I've got my high cast iron stew pan, if you will, right? And then I'm gonna use a cast iron fry pan for the chicken. So right now I wanna get my sofrito going, which is gonna be my carrot, my onion, my garlic, and my celery, all right? So I've got my pot going. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a bit. We're gonna do like a low medium. Now I'm gonna add my ingredients. So under that medium heat, I'm gonna add some, as you know, Vito and Joe's olive oil. So I'm gonna add, 3-4 tablespoons right in there. Now comes my ingredients. So I wanna add my onions, celery, garlic, my carrots. Now you're gonna take your spoon here and you're just gonna give it a really good stir. The goal here is I wanna get everything coated in the oil because the oil will get nice and hot and it'll sweat. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to sweat. What that means is things are gonna get tender and translucent. We're not looking to fry them. We want them really soft and tender and see through it. Oh, and you can just start to hear it. You hear it? Hear it starting to cook? Oh, my favorite aroma in the kitchen. All right, now we want this to sweat. So I'm gonna get a lid, I'm gonna put that on, and we wanna get going on our chicken. Meet you over at the cut block. Guys, a quick tip on chicken. So, obviously you gotta worry about bacteria, right? So what I like to do, I take a piece of parchment paper and just put that over your cutting board or your chop block. In this case, I'm gonna put it right over my chop block, which a quick shout out to Mackenzie Hughes from Cazenovia, a cut block right here in Cazenovia. Some of you guys ask me where I get these beautiful pieces of wood. I get them right up at her store. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my chicken, right, and I'm gonna set that right on the parchment paper. That way I'm not contaminating anything other than the parchment paper, which I can throw right out after. And our goal here is the spezzantini. Our goal here is to cut everything up, basically in a stew size. Real easy. I take a pair of tongs, I take my chicken, and then I'm just gonna cut it in any pieces that I need, right? So that'll be great. Then just turn it to the side, and then just cut it essentially in stew-sized pieces. Guys, my chicken is all cut up perfectly, so I want to take some of my pink Himalayan, and I want to season the chicken with some salt, fresh ground pepper, and give everything a flip. Again, a little bit more salt, and then fresh ground pepper on this side. Guys, my sofrito is still sweating, right? And it's been probably 5 to 8 minutes. Now I want to get this pan hot because I want to get that nice caramelization on the chicken here before I add it, and that gives you that deepened flavor. Let's check our sofrito quick. Oh, look at that. And you're almost there. Everything's cooking down. Our carrots are still a little bit raw, so I want to get those carrots down just a bit more. So I want to add some olive oil to this, obviously Vito and Joe's. So again, 3-4 tablespoons of oil, and I want to get that oil hot. And now I'm going to start adding my chicken to my hot oil. Oh, you can hear that, right? And now you just throw your parchment out. And what I'm looking for is that caramelization. And what I want is brown, so I don't want that. I want a brown crust on the outside of the chicken. Okay, guys, sofrito's finishing up. I got my chicken in the pan, getting that caramelization going. The aromas in here are unbelievable. A couple of quick tips to make this stuff come out absolutely phenomenal. I'll tell you something that's really important. One, you got to have Frank Sinatra plan. I got Frank Sinatra Pandora going today, and why? You may ask why. Everything comes out better with Frank Sinatra. What's the matter for you? Hey, another big important tip, that red button right there, subscribe, and then there's a little bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling, which is a Sinatra song, by the way. But hey, listen, when you hit that, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that notification bell. Hey, any new videos, any new recipes, blogging with Borio, any new trips to Italy I get coming up, boy, it'll come right to your notification box. And I'll tell you, it really means a lot to me when you subscribe to the channel. And I would say, hey, it makes you part of the family. You know what I'm saying? As far as the oil goes, I'm sure you already got some oil. I don't even need to plug that again, right? All right, let's check our sofrito. So we're going to give that a stir. Oh, yeah, we're just getting a little brown bit in there, so we know we're done. See, our carrots are starting to get pale. They're not as bright. They're starting to get soft. Everything is just cooking beautiful at this point. So I'm going to start adding my herbs. So I got my oregano, my rosemary, my thyme, Oh, there's some aroma for you. I like to get that in there for maybe a couple of minutes at that high temp before I bring down the temperature, because the oils from the dry herb will be released. After a minute or two, I'm going to add my chicken stock, add my 2 bay leaves. I'm going to add my tomato paste. I'm going to let that start cooking down. Let's check our chicken. So we're starting to get that brown caramelization on there. There's one right there. That's beautiful. All right, so I'm just going to take my tomatoes here on the vine. I'm going to pull those off. Obviously, everything's cleaned up. And now I want to dice these up. I want to chop these up a bit, all right? So I'm going to just pull them right in half. Clean that little bit out of there. You're good to go. And then cut it in half. And then just cut it across. And that'll be beautiful. That size tomato is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and chop these up. I know what you're thinking. What about your basil? I didn't forget. So I'm just going to cut these stems off quick. And then I'm just going to grab them, kind of roll them up a little, my leaves, right? And then just give them a cut across. Now I'm going to add my tomatoes, my freshly cut basil. Now, guys, I'm going to add my beans. I'm going to add a good heavy pinch of my pink Himalayan salt, a couple of good turns of my black pepper, and now I'm going to give this a nice gentle stir. So I'm going to cook this at a low-medium heat for about 20 minutes. I want it to get really hot. I want all those flavors to marry and absorb into each other. I'm going to put that top on to cover the deliciousness. All right, let's check our chicken here. Look at that one. That's what I want right there. I want a lot of that. So I'm going to let these go just for another couple of minutes. Guys, I've got a beautiful crisp on my chicken. Now I just want to take that butter, and I want to get that butter in there. And that's going to help a couple of things. One, it's going to give it a little bit more brown. It's going to give it a little bit more rustic. Plus the moisture in there is going to help me deglaze my pan a little bit. Guys, once the butter melts, we're going to shut that heat off. We're at 20 minutes. You guys ready? See how tender the tomatoes are? They're almost like falling apart. First, I want to remove my bay leaf here before I add my chicken. Next, I'm going to take my brown, crispy, buttered chicken. I'm going to put that right in my stew. I'm going to give this a nice gentle stir. Guys, I want to deglaze my pan. So I'm going to take 1 ladle of some of the broth here, and I'm going to add it to my cast iron pan because I want to get all that deliciousness out of there. I'm going to get it over the burner, just turn the heat on low, just enough to get the bits off, because there is just concentrated, delicious flavor in all those bits and brownings. On this, I'm going to turn the heat down really low. As soon as your pan feels nice and clean with your spatula, just shut the heat off. I want to add that deglazed liquid right to my pot with all that beautiful flavor. Now I'm going to let this set, guys, on a really low flame, just a light simmer. It's been 10 minutes. How you doing? Man, I'll tell you, the aroma in the kitchen, phenomenal. All right, guys, I'm just going to transfer it into my serving dish. Anybody knows our channel or our show, I'm right in my favorite time right now. Just a bit of basil, and then, again, hit it with that Parmesan Reggiano. What a beautiful first bite right there, right? And you've got just the thickened sauce, the chicken, the onion, the carrot, the garlic, the basil. You can see all your herbs. And the tomatoes almost just disintegrate, right? With the beans. Oh, how beautiful. Again, the aroma just fantastic. I'm going to grab that perfect bite. Guys, the sauce, first off, is absolutely delicious. It's thick. It's almost creamy. It's just loaded with flavor. The chicken, the garlic, the herbs, the beans, the basil. And then you get that deliciousness of the chicken where there's flavor all the way through. And you get that caramelization that just hits you, that rustic feel of the chicken, how it's cooked. And then you get that basil and that Parmesan right at the end. This is just that perfect, hearty, rustic, Italian deliciousness of spezzatino. Just absolutely perfect. Technically, spezzatino di pollo, which is stew of chicken. Just, oh my God, what a great recipe. As always, guys, thanks so much for joining me in the kitchen. And remember, guys, hit the bell and the subscribe button. Make you part of the family. Hit the Facebook or the web page or the link above. Grab yourself a bottle of Vito and Joe's extra virgin Italian olive oil. And guys, my last but probably my most important tip, at least once a week or a couple of times a month, shut the TV off, shut the computers off, shut the cell phones off. Get around the table with your family, celebrate your heritage and set some traditions. I'll tell you, they'll last you a lifetime. I know they did for me. Hey guys, from my kitchen to yours, until next week, mwah, buon appetito.